Okay, so we're continuing on. We just finished part 6 in the past episode. I've got the branches on GitHub here. If you need to refer to them, each video you can assume is going to be a new part in the series. I won't delete these branches. I just want you to have access to those so you can, if you're following along, you can have access to each step of the way. Maybe check out that branch and compare your code to mine and so on and so forth. There will be periods where these branches and the code within them either have errors or it's wrong or whatever. I'm just documenting for a source of truth. So assume everything in master is up to the current state of the app at this point, at the point that I'm publishing things. But otherwise, carry on and do and follow along like you normally would if you were watching one of my builds. So I'm refreshing this page. If we go to, I'm in the master branch at this point, so I didn't actually pull down the changes. So I'll go back and do that now. So I think I'm in my current directory of Rails devs. Yep, okay, cool. So we'll say git pull. I'm on the master branch, so we should see the changes that happened in the last part. Every time I finish a video, I do a git push and then I set a new remote origin for that branch. Once that's ready, I do a internal pull request to my own code, basically with no real information other than the part number, and then just merge that in. And then from there, I just pull it down into master, and then each new part, I'll check out a new branch. So I'll do that now. So git checkout branch and just part 7. There we go. And if everything's synced, we shouldn't really have any changes since the last part. You're just on a new branch doing that same code. So now I've got part 7 using what we did kind of before. So the new job path will be a view app, like I said in the previous part. If we wanted to edit a certain job, we could go and click edit. This is kind of what we did in that previous video. It's not final, but it's just something to have some UI around with regards to editing an existing job. We'll probably tailor fit this to more solution that makes more sense. Like if it were full-time, we probably only need to see compensation range, probably not estimated hours. So that's all hearsay for now. Yeah, so let's go back to the index. That's kind of where I want to focus this video, maybe get some design in mind, how this could work, what things could be tweaked and added and whatnot along the way. So there's going to be a lot of states for a job listing. So at any point there's a different status. At any point it could be featured, it could be archived, it could be deleted, all these different aspects of an app, and then we could just display that stuff accordingly and go from there. So I think what I'll do is start rendering at least the published jobs and the index, and then kind of giving them some love in terms of design. So let's go do that now. And if you recall in the previous part, we added some scopes. So on the index itself, which is our new route, we're going to actually have index of published jobs that are in descending order. We did that on the job model. And one thing I'm thinking of this app, if we're going to post a job, we could make it a public path to post. And then upon creating a job, your account's created. It's a little less setup for the end user who wants to quickly post a job and get something going. It's less of a hurdle for them, which I think is a good design, good goal. It presents some hurdles for us in terms of getting that user onboarded, because we will want to save their data in the database, but they need to be user first. So with Devise, there's a way you can hook into it and assume the user, once they create their job, could potentially confirm their account and then like set their own password once they get onboarded. So if they create a job, pay for it, and then we kick off background job that like creates a user, that could essentially boot an email up to go send to that user to confirm their details and then onboard them from there. That's a lot, but I think that's a good path. I won't focus on that in this specific video, but I think that's a path I'm going to roll going forward. We're going to set up Devise to be a confirmable option. I believe it might already be set in our user model. Yeah, and we have the fields on our database, which is already a good step. But we will need to hijack your device to, once you do confirm your account, allow your password to be updated before even accessing it, because I don't want to know your password, and the app should not know your password. That's not very secure. Anyway, let's get into the view of the jobs index. Right now it's a table and it's ugly as all hell, so let's get that sorted. We're missing some data in this case, so we'll have to accommodate that based on what parameters I have in the model. So for now, I'm going to just kind of hijack this to not even be rendered, and do this, that. Now, I keep talking previously about adding categories and tags to the mix. I think I'm going to forego doing categories right now. It would be nice to scope per category, but I don't think the job structure of anyone coming to the site is going to expect basically like a JS dev or a Python developer if they come to railsdevs.com or something like that. So I think it's going to be primarily Rubyists and Rails people who are interested in either coming here or getting a job this way. So that's something to think and keep in mind. So I'm going to clean this up a bit. I'll probably just, not use this new job path here. I'll probably put it in the header. Maybe we'll do that real quick. So header. There's a lot going on already in this part. I might split this up into like left nav, and then right nav. I tend to like to do this. So we've got our header. What would be maybe the left part is this bit, and the menu icon. And the right part could be that bit. Yeah, okay, so let's go with that. Will be okay, and then that will just paste into here. And the right nav will copy this bit. If this works the way I hope, we won't need to change anything. I didn't really mean to do that, but okay. We'll save that down, and yeah, we get everything still. Okay. I do want to add like a Gravatar avatar setup, so we'll allow the person, I think, to upload their own avatar, but we can default to Gravatar. I kind of use this with stuff working in the past on the Jumpstart template that's been out in the wild from Chris at GoRails. It's just kind of a helper that does some of the bulk work for you, but it also taps into active storage, which we'll probably do here for the logo for the company as well. I don't know that I set that up. I wonder if I did. Job has one attached company logo. Yeah. Okay. So we'll need that. Maybe we'll just throw that in the mix here. We should probably do if job.company logo attached. We'll render an image. And we could fix that up. Something like that. I don't know. It's not going to be perfect to start. We might need to use the internal image processing gem as well to make that a certain look and feel. Okay, so what I want to do, we have jobs rendering. We can do this .each bit here, or we can render it as a partial, like a collection. And I find that's nicer because I'm going to probably be rendering jobs all over the place in this way. So the way that works and can be done is essentially shorthand. So on index, we'll just do render jobs. It kind of does it for us. So this is assuming there is a collection under the hood, and there's also a partial that's called job. So job.html.erb. This is very convention driven, so don't assume this is anything that's like you need to set up or configure. Just based on the naming conventions of this and how we're rendering it right now. Like you could do a collection as well, if I can type, but and pass the partial and all this custom stuff. But this, at its core, you could go down to this 2 sets of key and values, and you get this nice harnessed loop mechanism within Rails, and just kind of see the same stuff here. So you notice I refreshed, nothing changed. It's actually intended. So that said, we can kind of hook into what these could look like in this case. So a lot can be done to make this look cool, but I'm going to try to keep it pretty simple, I think. So on the index itself, we'll probably have containing class with some essential, like a container. We want it to make sure it's in the middle. So we'll start with that. And then maybe some padding. I want it to be like the containing class itself. That's pretty wide. I kind of want it to be smaller. So maybe we could use a max width property here, but I almost want to use the container class because it's a little bit more responsive. The way I would prefer it to be responsive, I guess, is what I'm going for. But we could do like a large PX, like a crazy amount of padding instead, and then just have basic stuff on mobile. So then we get this kind of thick margin concept going on. Right on. Okay, so then what could we do for each job? Okay, so we'll start, I think a containing div is in order, so we'll have, maybe just set it to relative to begin with. We're gonna have some probably absolutely positioned stuff. And then I think a global link to the whole thing would make sense. We won't really make anything else clickable. If it is, it won't be displayed block or anything, so you could actually click on it. So we'll link to the job itself, and then we can set like a basic border rounded. Padding will be what, I don't know, 6 or something, just to give it something. And for these links, I might forego. Well, we could do them outside of the link, but kind of set them up in a different way. These are going to be admin only, so I don't know that I even have a helper for that. Let's check. Author of, I do have an admin helper, so this is what I'm going to hook into. For now, I'm going to leave it as admin. We'll do that. Actually, we'll do admin here. We could do it inline just to make it a little. I want admin to be able to edit, or author of job, and then actually I don't want the author to on the index. I don't think that makes sense. We won't do that. So I'll just do global admin in this case. It's kind of some utilitarian stuff going on. I should probably display block. There we go. So now we've got this stuff to work with. We could make these like positioned absolutely, like just so they're like still within the constraints. Whoops. So now they're like way up here, but we could like float them to the top right. So top 0, right 0, and then like margin right 4, margin top 4, just to get them out of the way there. And then Awesome. I don't like, I'll just say delete. Prefer delete. Okay, I keep clicking that. So for each index, we probably need some sort of hero element as well on this page. Maybe we can add that in. This might make sense in the layout. So in the layout, we can add maybe here instead. So we'll just say yield hero if it exists. I want it to be full width in that case, so that we could just do something like that. So then we could say like content for hero do. And if we recall the blog post I wrote, go to it. On part 1 I had all the screenshots. Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of follow suit here. Find a Ruby on Rails developer will be the H1. Is it find a Ruby? Should it be Ruby on Rails or Ruby or Rails developer? I'll say Ruby. I think that's more buzzworthy, so I guess I'll roll with that, even though it's for Ruby folks too. Let's make it pretty damn large. Font black. Leading tight. Let's just start with that. It's gonna look janky to begin with, but yeah, that's huge. So we probably want like a container, MX auto, and then like back here we'll have like BG red. I don't know, the typical Rails Ruby colors. And we could just see text white. PY is like a gargantuan amount. Maybe a little less. We're gonna add more content, so okay. And then we could do like a flex justify center on this. Flex wrap. So that gives us that centered quality, but without doing all the crazy text align center baloney. I don't think I should put margin on this, but rather on the container, because this will vary, I think, on each page. Maybe I will. I'll start, since it's maybe universal, so we'll say margin bottom 16 or something. I'm not thinking entirely crazy about mobile at the moment, but I'm just scaffolding this stuff out. But we might get there. And this design, I'm literally inventing out of thin air, so don't assume that I'm going to roll with this. More likely than not, I'll tweak it to probably to be almost annoying to you guys amount. So I'm sorry in advance. Let's see, shared. I want to actually remove this nonsense. There we go. Now it's kind of a little more nice. Okay, find a Ruby on Rails developer. Wonder what like a darker shade looks like. Yeah, that's more Railsy. Okay. If we go back to the article, the #1 resource for Ruby on Rails developers. I'll start with that. That sounds cheesy as all hell, but we can go on. Maybe the internet's. I don't know, cheesy deluxe. Okay, so this will be, if we just throw a width of full on this, it should break that. And then I want it to be centered exactly. Maybe we still need text centered. Okay, I might make that a little larger, so text large, maybe do the opacity thing. Or we could do, since it's red, text red, like 100. Yeah, so it's a little off-white, but still pretty white. I guess that works. This feels like it should be larger if that's that large. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Below that were 2 call to actions, and it was find a developer, find a job. So if we do those, these are going to be fictitious for now, but we'll point there. I'm not sure what would be the good color here. The core color, since it's over red, I suppose it should be shit, I don't know. Should it be a white button outline? I think I have those classes. Cool. Yep. Okay. And this is going to be flexed as well. So flex item center. Justify around, I believe, is probably going to work. Could be wrong. This will go to, honestly, it'll link below. We might just throw a anchor tag there, so we could say jobs path. Little hack here: if you do anchor, it'll do the default thing you want it. So in this case, we could just say, you know, ID for this, so like say jobs index. I think this will work. It might need to be in the param spot of this though. So if we do this, you do this, should target that. Maybe we could add some smooth scrolling so this isn't so janky though. Yeah, that works. So if we look at the source, you'll see, and the URL now, it went ahead and added that with a hash sign on the end. So cool. Now we need this one to be kind of an off, maybe a button red. Is it the same color? Yeah, it's the same color, so that's unfortunate. So maybe I need a button red that's slightly dark. Let's try button, and I'll just add BG red 700. I mean to do that. So then we've got that. Looks kind of weird. Okay, let's add some margin to this. Margin right, I don't know, 2. Margin left 2. Okay, and then this will have margin Y of like 3. This will only be on large screens as well. Cool. I feel like this isn't that great, so maybe it'll be button black. I don't like that either. Button white. Yeah, it just doesn't look great. Maybe I will go crazy with a color like button. Well, it could be an accent to red. What's a good one? Green, I guess. Ew, Christmas. Damn, I'm not sure. what would be good here. I also think the button size might be a little large. That works though. Torn. Like if you look at color theory, it's a primary color of red would point to, if you look at a color wheel, red accents green, and then it could also do yellow, green, blue, green. Maybe a teal would work. No, I don't know about that. I'm just curious, like, that actually is not bad. So it's not great either though. I don't love it. We could come back. Blue seems too standard, like I'd installed Bootstrap just 2 seconds ago or something, but I don't know. PY, I might increase the padding on these to be a little more oomph, since they're our main call to actions initially. Yeah. Okay, so I need to add some hover effects. So hover BG teal 700. Okay. Just making sure it looks sort of not centered, but yeah, if you do that, oh my gosh, center. Yeah, it's essentially the same. Yeah, I think it just needs some offset, so we could throw some on the bottom, but I'm going to put more on the top. And then on our layout, we had find developer friends in a community. So something like that. And that should probably go here. We don't have the community built yet. It will probably be the last thing I do because it's useful, I think, but it won't be the thing that makes people come. Well, it might be. I don't know. A community's tough because you need onboarded people, you know. Okay. I don't know if I like find a Ruby on Rails developer. Maybe that could be like 2 lines. Is that weird? If we go even bigger and then like, that's actually decent if we go super huge. So we can do large and then like go down a bit, it ends up being a little better. Cool. Could probably get rid of this stuff from y'all's view. I'm recording a few parts at a time right now because I have the time to do it. It's been kind of rough trying to find the time. That doesn't look great to me. I'm trying to figure out what I could be doing to make it look a little more balanced, but I think it's a start. We can maybe toy with a gradient or even make the background not red. So black. I don't know. And then these could be red buttons just turn me off. They don't look great. I think I'll leave it for now. I might add like an image or something instead at some point, but that's a start. We've got our hero graphic image going on. So, and our main call to actions. Maybe I'll add some shadow to those. Real faint shadow. And perhaps a border might make these. It's a touch lighter. Same with this one, border red, or 700, so I don't know. Kind of gives me that the CI service semaphore vibe, where it's. I'm curious what their branding looks like. Semaphore. Yeah, they've got like green and kind of a red and some random other stuff. It's pretty nice. Cool. I'll start with that. I'm going to come back. I promise that. I don't want to spend too much time just figuring out that for now. But let's take a look at what a listing could look like next. So I'll do that. Got our basic job partial now, and we could start with the title. I think that's the most important. I think putting the company on top might make this a little more balanced. So link, or yeah, company name, job, and that could be like just a basic paragraph tag. That's we just render it as is. So we've got Apple, and then we could say get rid of it there, and then the title will be kind of the main focal. So font black, and then like text large. Maybe that'll look okay. Maybe a little bigger. Yeah. This one we could add a little faintness, so text gray 700 perhaps. And in fact, I think everything else will be 700, and the title will be the main thing. Link to apply, I think we'll just leave for the show view. It's probably not important to have immediately present. Here's the description. One cool thing, we'll probably get to it in the show view, where Tailwind has a new plugin called typography plugin we could hook into for like markdown generated stuff or HTML output, and it's just pre-configured and pre-styled. It's pretty handy. But for now we can leave it as is. Mostly want to just get positioning and everything around it going on. So we'll say class, or the bottom like 3 or something. And honestly, we probably don't need the description here, nor the company description. The website, do we need it there? Maybe we'll link the company name to the website. So we've got it up here. If we just do a link to, actually no, we're already within a link, so we don't need that after all. We'll do that for the show view. Conversation range is pretty important. If it's a remote, it's pretty important. And user experience, that should be something there. Yeah, I think that's essentially what we would need to cover. If we have estimated hours, I think is another one. If we go down the job, featured until, if it's featured will be one thing. So we could say like if job.featured, and then display some tag that says it's featured. So maybe like just a span tag or something. And we'll just give it like BG, what would if maybe yellow, 400, text gray, let's do text black, and we'll just say like featured, and uppercase, text small, maybe X small, and then tracking wide, font bold, perhaps. So that one's a featured job, and we could round the corners and add some padding on the left and right. So PX would be like 4 or something. It's kind of big. Oops. 2, and PY could be a pixel on top and bottom, just to give it that look and feel. Now where we display that's up for debate, but I'll figure that out. So what's true and false here? Remote. So if and we can maybe have some tag classes that make this, let's just say it's a remote job. So if remote, I need to do headquarters too. So if we should just always have headquarters, and that needs to echo out. Cool. Remote, and we can do that. This could be all one string essentially. And then I'm blanking on what this, oh, years of experience. So we could do number, pluralize. That's a freaking handy method. So we could say years of, oh shit, it should be years instead. So year of, okay. There we go, experience. So that outputs, if it's like 1 or less, then it's year, it's singular, and if it's more, then it'll do years. So 5 years, we won't see it here, but if I edit that to maybe be 1, I think it'll work. Go back to index, 1 year of experience. So that's freaking helpful, you know? We've got this string of the compensation range. Now these technically aren't numbers, so you couldn't really assume they're integers. In this case, they're strings. And this is where I didn't include currency on purpose. It could be converted to integers, or you know, kind of string escaped and G subbed and all that shit with Ruby, but I think we're going to leave it as strings, and just you can kind of hack it and do number to currency and still get at least the first $sign for US anyway. At the beginning, you will get it for the second figure, sadly, but that's okay. I could make a method that might hook into that, but I don't think we're going to. So yeah. And while I'm thinking about it, I might change those hover states on those buttons to a lighter shade instead of a darker shade. So 5 and 6. So now it's lighter. Yeah, it's better, I think. Okay. Cool. So we've got our, I might need to do, we've got the company. Would it make sense to put like the location up here next to it? I think not. So my account is an admin. I can see these at the moment. but a typical user won't. So I'm wondering if this featured label could live up on the right, and then we could go to town there, I think. So that might make sense. Problem with that is there's might be other labels we display, like new or noteworthy or something. I'm not sure. Let's continue on though. I think I'm going to make this a little more rounded, and then for padding on the top and bottom we'll keep that, but I might do a little bit more on the X and Y axis. We're going to have an image that I might like position offset, because I want ones with no images to also appear and still be seemingly good looking. Maybe not that much, but like 12. Yeah, that could work. Okay. And then we could get fancy with like a hover state here, maybe a transition. These in out, duration of like 300. Shadow large or something like that. So we get this kind of like pillowy effect. It's kind of nice. Border we might do a little thicker and maybe darker. Cool. It could work. I like the big and boldness of this stuff. And I might actually, I noticed the text up here. It's neat that it's all red, but I think it might excel if it's the mark is red and then this is dark. This is just my designer eye going crazy. So sorry if I'm annoying you going back and forth. But I think this should be text black. Yeah, so now we got a little bit of leeway there. Boom. Right on. Okay. So it's shaping up. It's nothing great yet. Honestly, it's a job board, so it's not going to look awesome. It's just a list of stuff with data and stuff you can propagate. So it's kind of is what it is. I wanted to add some margin there so we can scroll a little bit, but I think that's the gist of the index. I might stop there just so this is a smaller part, but I'm wondering if these could have more oomph in terms of like iconography or something of that nature, but I also don't know if they need it. So I might put the featured right next to the company though, so let's do that on the job. We'll do that and go to the company name, and we could just do a flex box. And even if it's not featured, it should still render ideally, I think. But we can add like a margin left 2 here just so it's offset. There we go. So now we get that. On mobile, we might need to clean up that padding. So like large there, maybe PX6. Yeah, there we go. Cool. And that's on the job. On the index, we might need to change this to be just none. I might have some on the main containing layout. Yeah, I do. Okay, so that works. One thing to take into account is the image, and we don't have it set here yet. Maybe I'll add that field real quick and call this one good. So on the form, if we go here and we say title, maybe we'll just do it first. Form group, this will be company logo, I think. And then file field, company logo. I think I'm going to forego the class there. Now, one thing we need to do is make sure this is a multi-part form since we're adding fields to it. So we could say local is true for sure because I don't think we need to Ajax this thing. So multi-part true, and I'll leave it at that for now. So we'll get at least the file field. It doesn't need to be fancy, but I think it's, just attach the logo. And we could say if it's attached, display it. So that's kind of a neat thing. Maybe I'll do that like this. Flex, item center. Okay, so I'll leave the input group on the left, but what I want to consider doing is a if form.object.company logo attached. So you can do this. It took me a while to realize you could do this stuff. We could essentially display said logo. So we'll say image tag and then form.object.logo. Oops. And give it like a basic class of like 24 with height auto. And it's not going to be there now because I don't have anything attached, but if I do like some random old avatar, update, go back. Okay, so we didn't get it there. I think I need to permit that field. I didn't do that. Let's first, I'm trying to remember did I have that as a column? I don't, because it's on active storage. So we have one attached company logo. Cool. Now if we go to jobs controller, I could just look at the logs, but I don't think I permitted it. So we'll say that. Cool. And we'll try that again. Cool. So there it is. It works now. Good deal. Cannot speak. Okay, so with that done, we can add just that there instead. And keep this as is. Okay. Now, if on our index, it's going to show, it's going to not look good. So let's fix that and then I'll wrap this. So let's go to our index on our job. We've got our logo way up here. I think it could be the first thing you see, to be honest. There we go. Okay, and then we'll probably position it absolutely. What could that look like? We will wrap it in div class absolute top 0 left 0 margin bottom a little. I don't need margin. We'll do transition. I kind of want to make it fancy on hover and stuff. So duration. This is kind of my go-to. Ease in out. Transform. We want to scale it on hover, I think, or rotate it or something. We'll see. So yeah, rounded. I want it to be all the way rounded. We'll give it a basic width of 20, height 20. It's probably huge. And it's going to be top left, so I kind of want it to be offset. So margin top 8, negative margin left 8, perhaps. Okay, and then what's neat, and I think I have it installed as gem file. Image processing gem is installed. Good deal. You need image magic and stuff too, if you do not have that, to install that. So what you can do with that is this variant method and then pass resize to fit and just pass in whatever constraints. So I'm going to just say like 200, just so we don't serve the hugest image in the world. And I know if I do like object cover, this will kind of map to the full width and height of this div. And maybe I'll give it a border. Rounded, full. Let's see what it looks like. So it's doing that. So that works. Absolute top left 0. Why isn't it doing that? Oh, we need to wrap the div around the image. That's funny. Okay, so we need to set a width and height on everything. So let's make this smaller for one. That's going to be huge. And we'll set this. There we go. So that seemingly works. Let's see. Maybe we can rotate it on hover. So I think group hover on this will need to be a thing. And rotate, I know by default rotate has not the properties I really want, so I can add some. So I'm going to do 5. It's like a slight rotation just to say, hey, you hovered over this. Isn't it cool? And then I think rotate doesn't have group hover on it, or transform. It might though. Transform responsive hover. So if that works, then I could do like rotate -5. No? Okay. What did I do wrong there? I want to do scale as well. So scale 105. Hover shadow large perhaps on it, the image itself. Oh, I know why this isn't working. I don't have group on the main div. Group. Or maybe I do. So it's doing the shadow, but not the other parts. Why isn't it? What's Webpack saying? It's compiling. Why is this? Group hover, negative rotate 5. I think I need. Absolute top margin. Oh, I know why, because I did it on transform. It should be on rotate itself. Okay. I think. No, we're not getting that either. What's up with that? Wait, it's scaled. And it's turning a little bit. Okay, cool. So when you hover over this thing, that thing kind of jolts in a specific direction, which is good. Now we could make it a little more big. Maybe I don't know, what's 20 look like? It's pretty massive, but that's okay. We could do that. Maybe we'll make this more. 12. It's not quite what I want. Is 18 an actual property? Probably not, right? Yeah, I think 16 is going to be it. I think it'll just sit better. And we can kind of center it in that case. So like, because it's 16, if 8's half of 16, it should be right in the center in this case. What we can do, I think that'll look okay, because this is going to be balanced with the title and the company and then all the other data below that. I think I'll leave that for now. I feel like I'll revisit this text. Maybe it'll be of smaller text. So see how it looks as small text. Yeah. It looks okay. Yeah, that looks a little better, I think. Perhaps that. And I think 8 years of experience could be technically along the lines of the salary. So, and this is just assuming you're full-time. So we'll still need to do the conditional logic of hourly or contract in this case. So that's something to think about. Looks like this doesn't have a salary because did I choose hourly? Contract, yeah. Okay, so if we could say, let's do quick little conditional logic. If compensation type I'm gonna just hard code this for now. It's equal to, maybe we'll do like downcase equal to contract. Yeah. Else this. So if it's contract, we'll say, what will we say? So job dot estimated hours. What's the compensation range? Well, no, it's not rendering any of this. Let's inspect what this is. Contract. They're all contract. That's entre. Let's change some of these to full-time. Okay. That's full-time. This is contract. So what should we say with in fact, let's actually output the full-time. We could just do compensation type actually, so okay, and we could say that up there too. In fact, we don't even, we'll put that forward. And this looks like garbage, I know, just hold out. So we need this, and I think I'm going to roll with that and get rid of this bit. So then that whole thing will end up being that. We don't need the inspect block anymore. So contract more than 100 hours. We could do pluralize. I don't know that would be necessary though, because it's going to be always more than 1 hour. Nice. Okay, so I think that's okay. Do a little margin here. Remote California contract more than 1 hours, 100 hours, full-time. Salary of that, 1 year of experience, 8 years of experience. I think that's okay. Maybe we could use, instead of commas, like an and bowl sign and give it a little style. With like a PX, tiny bit of padding. Yeah, I dig that. So we'll say maybe text 500, slider 600. Oops. Yeah, I like that. Maybe we'll do that down here as well, where this comma is. 1 year experience. I'll keep that there. I like the space, so let's do the space, space, space. I think that should work. Cool. All right, so we've gotten pretty far already on this bit. The UI is always, a challenge. It's a lot of conditional logic, probably more in the view than I want, but we can make some helpers out of these just to clean up the views and or extract to other partials if we want. This could get more technical in terms of like rendering other statuses, or if it's an archived and that highlight, if it's one or the other, we can kind of do a lot here actually. Once someone signs up for a job, I think there's going to be some upsells that maybe allow you to either theme the job or like theme it with a color or do something that just makes it stand out from the pack, especially like the logo itself. I'm going to require you upload one, but I think I'm going to only allow people that pay like a little bit extra to do that to make your job stand out. So most will look like this or featured, so something like that. But I think that's it for now in this video. We'll continue on in the very next. I think we're in a good state at least to get to maybe the show view, and then I'll hash those out and then start on the new job form, which is going to be a view app. So I keep saying I'm going to do that next. I'm going to do that next. So I'll see you in the next part.